Hello friends, welcome to week 3 of Drew's NFL predictions. Now week 2 went probably quite well actually, certainly better than week 1. We came out with 14 out of 16 right, no absolutely correct answers. Screw you Raiders, it was looking good for 15 until you had to come in and ruin it. But, you know, we'll see what week 3's got in store. More on this later, but I don't think we're going to do as well. But, you know, let's start with tonight's game. The Dolphins versus the Jaguars. Both teams are coming off of very narrow losses, 3 points apiece, to the Bills and the Titans, respectively. We will be without probably our best player. Byron Jones is quite injured. He's done his groin, he's done his Achilles. Likely going to miss a few weeks, I would say. But I'd rather, if it's going to happen at some point in the season, I'd rather it did it now. Because, you know, our schedule's not particularly tough later in the season. I think we've got more chance of picking up wins there than we do now. We shall see, we shall see. The Jaguars, on the other hand, they've been playing better than we might have anticipated, given their mass exodus in the off-season and at the start of this season. But they're still the Jags, no matter how many players they get rid of. They are capable of an absolute stinker of a performance at any time. And I'm hopeful that we're going to get one now, but you never know. Honestly, game could go either way. It's probably mostly dependent on which version of Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up. If we get Fitz-tragic, like we've had for the vast majority of the 2 games we've played so far, I can unfortunately see the Jags running away with this. But, if we get Fitz-magic, we could have a bit of a shootout on the go, and a proper, bargain basement shootout, but a shootout nonetheless. And I'm going to hope for the latter, of course. So, official prediction, although not confident, Dolphins by 7. That doesn't look great up there, but we'll see. Sunday starts with the Battle of the Infirmary as the beaten up Giants, without Saquon Barkley and Sterling Shepard, will host the even more beaten up 49ers without Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Bosa, Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, Solomon Thomas, that's just the ones they lost last week, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Richard Sherman, significantly more. Reports are saying they could be missing 9 out of 22 starters for the game. It's just ridiculous. The Giants have signed Devonta Freeman to partially kind of fill up the Saquon hole, but there's no saying how well he's going to play in a new offense, so, you know, jury's well and truly out on that one. It's a really tough game to try and predict again. The Giants, if they have a chance to get into the win column, this is probably as good as any. And it would be fun if the Jets had a massive inadvertent hand in the Giants winning a game. But I think I'm still going to go with the 49ers here. 49ers by 4. Next up, we have the Washington football team. Still doesn't sound good to say at all. Travelling to the Cleveland Browns. Both teams going in at 1-1. For one of these teams, that's probably an expected place for them to be. That's all, really. I think this is a chance for Baker Mayfield to show what he's capable of. I think it's a chance for the Browns to run the score up a bit. And I think they will. So I'm going in. Browns by 21. Now, the Eagles are playing the Bengals. Now, a lot of people are all aboard the Joe Burrow hype train at this stage. My jury is out. Very much out. You look at his stat sheet from last week, it looks alright, it looks good. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then you take into consideration the fact that to get those 316 yards, he took 61 pass attempts last week. Now, with the quality, the speed, and the trickiness of the receivers the Bengals have, something doesn't quite add up there. I'm still absolutely not there when it comes to Joe Burrow. And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a big regression from him in this game. And that's why I'm going with the Eagles by 11. Next up, we have the Raiders, who took a hell of a game against the Saints last week. It's questionable how much of that was down to the Saints missing Michael Thomas. So, chalk that one up into the category. The Patriots followed up their low-scoring win against the Dolphins with a high-scoring loss against the Seahawks. So, God alone knows where they're going next. I'm going to go, I reckon, against the grain here, given it's a Patriots home game. But I'm suggesting the Raiders by 3. We'll see. Next up, the Falcons. Fresh off a bottle smash, second only in magnitude really to 28-3, travelling to the Bears. No, hosting the Bears. Written that down wrong in the script. Again, 2 weeks running. Anyway, the Falcons were up 20-0 against the Cowboys last week after the first quarter. And indeed, they had a 15-point lead in the last 5 minutes. Now, let me just move into Statles Corner here. Just for a moment. I'm just going to, this is quite an unlikely situation the Falcons have found themselves in. In the last 20 seasons, there have been 1,882 instances where teams have found themselves ahead by 15 or more points with less than 5 minutes left. 1,875 of those went on to win. The Falcons, however, have become the 7th instance in the last 20 years of a team losing from that magnitude of lead. That's a 0.4% chance. So, welcome to that, Falcons. Now, you'd think this is the kind of thing that could absolutely derail a team's season if their coaching isn't up, their mental coaching isn't there. So, remains to be seen if they'll bounce back. I'm not sure. The Bears are 2-0, which is a little bit unexpected. And they've probably got the chance to make it 3 here, in all honesty. So I'm going Bears by 4. The Buffalo Bills hosting the Rams. Now, Josh Allen. Let's talk about Josh Allen for a minute here. He is, after 2 weeks, number 1 in passing yards, number 4 in rushing yards, and number 2 in total touchdowns. Now, I'm not going to come out and say I called him being quite this good, but what I will say is I have been singing his praises in my Fantasy League group chat since, right through the off-season essentially. And they've shot me down every time. The boy's good. He's good. He's not Tom Brady good, but he's good. And I think he's proven it so far. But this is his first real test coming against Aaron Donald and the Rams D. And they have been very solid so far. You never know what you're going to get with their offense. And, the Bills' defense is probably their first test of the season as well. And that in mind, I've actually got Buffalo going over here. Bills by 5. Next up we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're looking to build on a very strong start to the season, and they're going to host the Texans, who, they need to wipe the slate clean. They've had a really bad schedule to start the year, and they've lost to the Chiefs and the Ravens. You're not going into those games expecting to win. It's tough to tell how much of their struggles are down to the loss of DeAndre Hopkins, but it has been fairly clear from watching the games that Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb are not quite filling that void. I can see the Steelers putting themselves well into early playoff contention here, going 3-0, and I'm going to go Steelers by 6. Closing out Sunday's early games, we have the Vikings hosting the Titans. 2 very narrow victories for the Titans, and 2 blowout losses for the Vikings so far. So, you'd think predicting this game would be quite obvious. But, yet, I can't help but wonder about the Titans doing Titans things, and Kirk Cousins doing as usual, suddenly deciding it's time to, actually know how to play football again. When are those things going to happen? Don't know. Really don't know. But I'm a logical person. I have to put feelings of aside and say that the only rational thing is another Titans victory by 3 points. They're gonna go 3-0, winning each game by 3 points. You just know they are. Maybe not. Let's go into the evening games. We've got the Panthers travelling a long way west to take on the Chargers. Now, neither side has looked particularly convincing so far this year. The Chargers did really well against the Chiefs, though, to be fair. Didn't quite get there, but, home advantage here, I think, will be key. The Chargers are used to not playing in front of fans. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, I can't see the Panthers travelling all that distance and getting much of a result here. Incidentally, if you've not seen the reason Justin Herbert got the start for the Chargers last week, just look it up, please. I'm not going to spoil it, but I promise it's an absolute doozy. It looks like he's going to start again this week. You couldn't write the reason Tyrod Taylor isn't playing. You just couldn't write it. Either way, Chargers by 9. Next up, we have the Colts versus the Jets. I don't have a huge amount to say about this game, in all honesty. It's 2 teams who have been roundly disappointing this season so far. I reckon the Jets' biggest contribution to the league this year will probably be the injuries they inflicted on the Niners, to be honest. Please don't break Philip Rivers' hip. I've just realised I've put the Colts by 9 prediction up on the screen a bit early, but, that's my prediction. Colts by 9. Yeah, not a lot to say about that one. More to say about this one, though. It's a big game. The 28.5 point per game Cowboys take on the 36.5 point per game Seahawks in what will probably be another huge shootout, to be honest. It's looking like a big boy quarterback battle. Now, the hashtag #LetRussCook has been trending on Twitter, and the Seahawks have been listening to people asking to let Russ cook. And Russell Wilson has thrown 9 touchdown passes so far this year. And that's a trend that will continue, I think. He's going to go for another 4 or 5 in this game, maybe even 6. Dak's been playing like he's in a contract year because, well, he's in a contract year. 3 scores on the ground last week for him. It's a huge return. But, the Seahawks defence is a pretty massively different prospect to the Falcons one. And I've got Seahawks by 11. I think it's exactly the same as I had last week for them. The Lions taking on the Cardinals next. The Cards are 2-0 off the back of some very strong offense and pretty good defense as well, to be honest. And they're going to want to continue that against a substandard Lions side. Losing DeAndre Hopkins has been an absolute death knell for Houston so far, but it's been a breath of life for Arizona. And I think they keep going with that. And they go 3-0. Got Cardinals by 8. Next up, we have the Broncos hosting the Buccaneers, and they will do so without Drew Lock. Jeff Driscoll is in place for them. It's not a great concept. Prospect? It's not a great anything, to be honest. Jeff Driscoll's not great. I wouldn't expect a massive score being run up here, although Tom Brady, mile high, anything's possible. I certainly don't see a lot of chances coming Denver's way. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers by 10. And to close out Sunday night, we have the Saints hosting the Packers. Small spoiler there. For me, a lot of this game depends on Michael Thomas. Is he healthy? Can he play? At time of recording, Thursday afternoon, there's been little to no news. It doesn't look like he's going to play. You have to expect he'll still be out for a week or two. The Saints were not up to par at all last week without him against the Raiders, and the Packers have just been running up scores against everyone. So this could actually get quite ugly for the Saints, I'm sad to say. As you probably saw, I've got Packers by 12. Last but very much not least, we have probably the marquee match of the year so far. Last year's Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes, takes his Chiefs to last year's regular season MVP, Lamar Jackson's Ravens. High-powered offenses meet generally good to great defenses, and like a Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton film, something's got to give. Very, very torn with this matchup. Really incredibly torn with this matchup. Like a lot of others this week, actually, this has been an absolute nightmare to try and predict. I could see any result from Chiefs by 25 to Ravens by 25, and would not be at all surprised by anything in the middle. The odds are favouring the Ravens, probably because they're at home. I'm going to go against the odds and predict a Kansas City Chiefs victory. Chiefs by 4. That is going to do it. I really feel like this week, like I say, has been an absolute struggle to try and predict half these games. I'm not convinced I'm coming out of this one anywhere near 14 of 16. But, as always, we shall see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please hit like on the video and hit subscribe if you haven't already for more wonderfully eclectic YouTube entertainment. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.